Hello everybody, it's me Will, and I'm back with another new video, and this is gonna be all about that new Green Day Dookie 30th anniversary box set that just came out a few weeks ago. I finally was able to go to my local record store and I was able to pick up a copy of the box, and I did pick up the limited edition version of the box that comes with the different variations of color vinyl. Amazing packaging in this box, by the way. They really went all out for the 30th anniversary. Everything looks great, sounds great as well. But this video is not going to be exclusively an unboxing video or even a review video. I'm a little bit late to the game, so there's plenty of videos covering all the contents of the box out there on YouTube. So I wanted to do something a little bit different. Essentially, I wanted to share my thoughts as a Green Day fan after listening to all the records in the box set that includes a lot of unreleased material until now, and after reading the booklet that came in the box that includes a lot of really great information about the recording of the now classic album Dookie. So essentially it's going to be what it means to fans, what the 30th anniversary box set of Dookie means to Green Day fans out there. But first, real quick, just a couple of things about the packaging. The box you can see right there in the background is all covered in this nice and very reflective silver color. Even the back of it is all silver. It looks great. It's very reflective. My made-up fact is that they made it look like the back of CDs, kind of like this one. This is Dookie, my original one that I got in the 90s. And my theory is that they made it silver so that the more that you use it, the more that you take it out of the shelf, maybe more likely it is to get scratched to make it resemble the original CDs. Because if you owned a copy of Dookie on CD in the 90s, you probably played the crap out of all those CDs, and eventually they're gonna get scratched in the back. That's my made-up theory. I don't know if that's what they did it. I don't know if it's easy to scratch, actually. Mine doesn't have any scratches yet, but maybe in the future it will. But again, that's completely a made-up fact by me. And again, it comes with, I mentioned all this in my preview video about the box set a few weeks ago. It comes with 5 full albums in the box, 6 total discs. And again, my version comes with different colors of vinyl. So it's a variation of brown, black, gray, and yellow throughout the box set. The very first record that you get is, of course, the classic Dookie in its entirety, the original version of it. No remaster, which is a good thing. No remix. It's just the classic Dookie on vinyl. What surprised me about this one? No Ernie in the background. If you watch my videos or if you're a Green Day fan, you will know that the original version of Dookie came in with Ernie from Sesame Street there in the background. Sorry for the glare there, but this is my original CD from the 90s. And the 30th anniversary box set does not come with Ernie in the background. It actually removed it, and they airbrushed whoever this person right here, her face in the back cover, which I always hated that they did that because they did not a great job airbrushing that person, and they made her look a little bit deformed. But anyways, that's what they could do, I guess, with the technology of the day. But what was funny about the missing Ernie was that if you read the book, this is the book that comes with the box set, by the way. There's a section with all the credits, and they actually credit Jim Henson from Sesame Street, the creator of Sesame Street, as for the Ernie back cover. So why did they bother to even credit somebody if they're not going to include the Ernie in the back cover? Maybe it's for maybe to credit him from the original versions of the CD and the vinyl. I don't know. I guess we'll never know. So my favorite album in the whole box set is this one right here, Green Day Live in Barcelona, 1994. And I love what they did in the artwork of all these records in the box is that they changed the color of the Green Day logo to like a different variation for all the records in the box. And in this one, they made it with the Spanish flag. It looks great. They have the duct tape right here picture with Live in Barcelona. And this is the only record in the box that's a double LP, so it comes with a nice gatefold with a picture of the band. And I will show you one of the records in this album because I think this is the one with the best color vinyl design. This is the one with splatter yellow and brown vinyl with the Dookie labels, the Dookie logo labels. Which the original version of Dookie on vinyl came in on the classic Reprise labels, and this one's they made the Dookie logo labels. Anyways, Green Day live in Barcelona. This is a record that I really see myself playing often because it is classic or original Green Day, or I guess early Green Day live. It's just a blast of energy, pure punk rock energy, just blasting through all the songs. And they play a lot of songs that they don't play now. Lots of songs from Dookie and from their first two albums on the independent label Lookout. So they play a lot of songs like One of My Lies, Only of You. They play Paper Lanterns, Christie Road, and they close with Disappearing Boy, which is a fantastic early Green Day song, a great closer for the show. Again, just a blast of energy, super fun album to listen to. And like I mentioned in my previous video, Green Day live back in the 90s was a completely different beast compared to what they are now. I'm not saying that they're better now compared to before. They were just different. If you go see Green Day live now, you can see a Billy Joe Armstrong that's really in charge. He is the leader or the front man of a big rock and roll band. Back in the 90s, especially right before or after Dookie came out, you can tell that Billy Joe was a little bit uncomfortable with being a rock star, with being a leader of a big band. So they just blasted through the songs. They played some fun at the crowd, but it was mainly just about the music, not that much about the show itself. So it's a great listen. Early Green Day live is just fantastic, and the sound quality in this one is excellent. But what I wanted to mention about this record, what I really caught my attention, I guess, was the back cover. Again, the picture of the classic Billy Joe Armstrong baby blue guitar, and as you can see, he always has a bunch of stickers around the guitar. And what's up there in the top of the guitar is a sticker of the band The Muffs. And if you watch my videos, you know I'm a huge fan of the Muffs. But what I learned, not only from that picture, but also from reading the book, was that the Muffs were incredibly influential, not only on Green Day, but on the overall sound of the album Dookie. And what you will learn if you get the book, or if you get the box and you read through the booklet, was that the producer Rob Cavallo was essentially hired by Green Day, or Green Day actually chose him to produce the record. First of all, because he knew how to play a lot of the Beatles songs, but second of all, because he produced this record right here. He just came out from producing the self-titled debut album from the Muffs. And the guys from Green Day were just so impressed with the sound of this. This one came out in 1993, by the way, also on Warner Brothers. So the guys from Green Day were just so impressed with that they chose not only Rob Cavallo, but also that's why they chose Warner Brothers to move into a major label, which was a very big deal for a band like Green Day, a band that grew up in the punk scene that was almost prohibited, or it was not allowed to go into a major label. It was considered to be a sellout move. But anyways, I just thought about the Muffs because it's also one of my favorite bands, and it is mentioned multiple times in this book with the write-ups by Rob Cavallo and Bob Mehr. Huge influence on the music of Green Day and on Dookie. I mentioned the book that comes in the 30th anniversary box. This is a fantastic book. It comes with lots of pictures and great write-ups from Bob Mehr and Rob Cavallo. First of all, this may be the non-musical highlight of the entire box because it just has so much great stuff in the actual book. Lots of pictures again from early Green Day, and lots of pictures from the band having fun and recording the album. You can tell that they were having a good time. I really like these two pictures right here in the book. This one's really got my attention because if you see this one right here, it's a picture of a photographer taking a picture of Billy Joe and Mike making funny faces. And right next to it is the actual picture from this photo, from the photographer taking the picture of Billy and Mike making those funny faces. I don't know, I thought that was kind of funny to have both pictures of that from that scene. And the whole booklet is just covered in cool pictures and the band playing live as well. It's just fantastic. But again, the highlight of this book is really the write-ups. You know, first you get a really nice essay, a one-page essay from Rob Cavallo, writing his story on how he got essentially selected by Green Day to produce their album Dookie. And it's really interesting, you know, stuff that I really didn't realize back then. But Rob Cavallo was a young A&R guy at Warner Brothers, but he wasn't very successful before Green Day. He didn't have any big hits. All the bands that he recruited so far were a flop commercially. So he was a little bit desperate, and he thought that he was going to get fired. And he actually took a lot of risks by hiring a band like Green Day because they were a punk band, and the label didn't want to hire any punk bands at that point. So he took a big risk, and he goes through the story and how he listened to the initial demos and how he ended up getting a hold of over Billy Joe, Mike, and Trey, and getting them to sign into Warner Brothers. So a great story from Rob Cavallo. But what really has all the meat in the book is this part right here. Is the write-up by Bob Mehr. And this is called The Green Day and the Making of Dookie by Bob Mehr. And it's about, I think, 10 pages or so. Didn't really count it, but it has a lot of information about the recording of Dookie, of course. Lots of great information, and I could not think of a better writer to write something about my favorite band than Bob Mehr, because he's the one that wrote that excellent book about the Replacements a few years back called Trouble Boys. Fantastic book, very detailed, goes into the detail about all about the music as well as the personal lives of the band members. And he does something very similar in this one. He goes through the background of the band, their personal lives, where they grew up, and then how they went into to sign for a major label like Warner Brothers, and to the whole process of recording Dookie. Lots of really great information in this one. And also what I learned was that Bob Mehr actually interviewed the band members for this one. So he has first-hand knowledge from the band about all the details about recording Dookie. So there's quite a few things that I learned from reading this write-up by Bob Mehr. First of all, he really goes into detail about that relationship that the band had with Rob Cavallo, the producer. It's something that I really haven't read too much about before this box set came out. And there's a really powerful scene in the book that Bob Mehr describes where they finish recording the album and they're about getting ready to release it out to the world. And Rob Cavallo is a little bit nervous because he's never had a big hit, and he was really pushing to have a big hit. And Billy Joe Armstrong, he goes to Rob Cavallo and he tells him, "Hey, Green Day is gonna be successful, and we're gonna do everything that we can to be successful. We need to know that you're also gonna be ready to do this," which is a scene that really caught my attention. It really impressed me because, first of all, it shows a lot of foresight from a guy like Billy Joe to almost predict the future and know that the band and the album was going to be very commercially successful, because there were risks being taken from both sides, right? Rob Cavallo was taking a risk by hiring a young punk band that not many people outside their scene really knew of. But Green Day was also taking risks because they were doing something that was almost not allowed by their scene. So I don't know, that scene really impressed me, especially because the guys, the band members were very young. You know, they were maybe 21, 22 years old, and Rob Cavallo was a little bit more senior. You know, he wasn't old, but he was in his early 30s. So there's a big age difference, and he's a music professional, and he has this 21-year-old guy telling him that, hey, are you going to take this band seriously or not? I don't know. I just thought that was a very powerful scene between the band members and Rob Cavallo, and of course that relationship moved on to be very successful and very tight, because Rob Cavallo went on to produce lots of the later Green Day records. So it's a relationship that really worked very well. So another great thing that really caught my attention about reading the book was the importance of the Green Day Dookie demo record. This is one of the records that comes in the box set, and it's by far the most interesting record in the box, because it's a lot of stuff that Green Day fans have never listened to before. So it's unfinished versions of songs that were recorded during the Dookie era. And there's the track list. And side A, you get the 4-track demos, and in side B, you get the cassette demos. And I think in my preview video, I mentioned that the 4-track demos, or I thought that the 4-track demos were kind of like more finished versions of the songs, and the cassette demos were rougher early recordings. It's actually the opposite. The 4-track demos are actually very, very early recordings, maybe the first few recordings of the songs, while the cassette demos are a little bit more polished. The lyrics are a little bit more finalized, and a little bit better mixed as well. Fascinating listening record. It's for Green Day fans, it's everything that you would like to hear, because it's a lot of stuff that nobody has ever listened to before. And the quality of the sound is actually pretty good, with a few exceptions, of course, especially with the early recordings, the 4-track demos. You can still hear a little bit of tape hiss in some of the records, but that's fine. That really puts you in the scene, because it was recorded using very early, or the technology from that era. But what's really important about these demo songs was that, at least to me, it really puts you in the position of Rob Cavallo when he is about, or when he didn't even know about Green Day. You know, the whole story that they mentioned in the book is that he was given a tape with demo songs when he was recording, or when he was producing that first Muffs album. And he was given that tape, and he played it in his car when he was driving back home. And I believe that a lot of those tracks were the 4-track demos from side A in this album. So it really puts you in the shoes of Rob Cavallo. You know, you're a young movie or a music producer, and you're looking always for good talent, and you play this tape in your car, and you think, does this band has the potential of being a mainstream band? And I think that you can hear that potential, because Green Day always had they had a great ability of writing amazing songs, and their songs are just so catchy, so melodic, very pop oriented, and you can tell from listening to those 4-track demos. Another interesting fact that Green Day fans will learn from reading the book is that the original versions of 2 of the tracks from Dookie, Chump and Longview, were originally a little bit slower than the final version of those 2 songs that we all know and love from the final version of Dookie. And Bob Murray goes into big detail about the whole recording process, and apparently they run into some trouble while mixing the album, and they had to move into a different studio while doing the final mix. And while they moved into after moving to the new studio, they actually decided to re-record those 2 tracks for the final version of Dookie. Again, it's Chump and Longview. 2 very important songs, because of course Longview was the first big hit for Green Day and the first single. And Chump is the song that goes before Longview. And if you know the record, of course you know that the end of Chump, it kind of fades out, and the very beginning of Longview starts with that classic bass guitar solo from Mike. So 2 very important tracks in the record, and they were completely re-recorded almost last minute before the final cut of Dookie. Interesting, because although they don't include the studio versions of those 2 tracks, the original versions of those 2 tracks in the outtake record, they do have those 2 tracks included in the demo album. And if you pay close attention to those two tracks in the demo, you can tell that the timing or the tempo is a little bit slower in those two tracks. Now the question is, would it really have made a difference? Would maybe Longview, would it have not been a big hit if it was a little bit slower in the final cut of Dookie? I don't think so. I don't think it really makes that much of a difference. The song is still great. You can only really tell if you really pay close attention to the track.
Change the channels for an hour or two. I change the channels for an hour or two.
And leads into this record, the outtake record. This is the record that they also have in the box. It also comes included in it, and it comes with just one side of music. The other side is an etching with songs that were recorded during the Dookie era, final versions of those songs, but they didn't quite make they didn't make it to the final cut of Dookie. So it has the re-recorded versions of a couple of the tracks from their first two records. So Christie Road and 409 and Your Coffee Maker. Fantastic songs, by the way. I covered all that in my preview video. But it was interesting to not see the final versions or the original final versions of Longview and Chump in this outtake record. They were probably just too similar to the final versions of it, so they decided to not include it here in the outtake album. But one more thing that you will learn about reading in the book is that there is actually a Dookie recorded version of one of the songs from the original, the first two records of Green Day that came out on an independent label. It's a song called 2,000 Light Years Away. It was recorded during the Dookie sessions, but it's not included in here. It's not included in the outtake records. And I will always wonder why they did not include that version of 2,000 Light Years Away. It is a fantastic song. I would have loved to hear a better produced or a better mix of that song, like a Dookie version of that track on this album. I think that's a big missing piece of the outtake record. But otherwise, the few songs that you get here, the 6 songs, are amazing. So that's it. That's all my thoughts about the Green Day 30th anniversary box set. I may learn a few more things after listening to the records a few more times. Maybe I'll make an update video later on. But there's a lot of really great content for Green Day fans out there nowadays. And of course, with all the legacy albums being re-released in the last couple of months. And also, we're gonna get some new Green Day music in the next few months, hopefully. So really excited about that. But let me know in the comments what you think about. Have you got the box set? Let me know what you think about it. Do you catch any details that I may have missed in this video? Let me know, and thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye bye.